in my dreams, I kept having a reoccurring dream where a tsunami would come and literally right before it like would hit me, I would wake up, and it happened time and time. And I would always know that that was me needing to process my emotions, needing to feel very present in my life and not run from what is happening. And as soon as I did that, the dreams would go away. So we can start to work with our dreams and recognize if we're having reoccurring dreams, that's our subconscious saying, just kind of like a little universal tap, like, hey, we're trying to work with you to support you. And then also, I do have more experience in the dream state now of understanding the symbols that we have in our dreams. In fact, every single night, I'm pretty.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Sleep Like a Boss podcast. I'm your host, Annika Carroll, and I'm super excited to have Shannon Kaiser here today. Shannon is a life and empowerment coach. She has been featured in a lot of amazing publications, has written successfully many, many bestsellers. You're all about psychology, fulfillment of life, happiness, maybe ease in life as well. And Shannon, I'm so excited to have you on the show. Welcome.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you. This is going to be a really wonderful conversation.
Yes, and I actually haven't had a an empowerment coach or life coach on in a very, very long time, and we came from a very different angle. So I'm super excited to have this conversation with you because you, in your business, have actually put a focus on sleep because you published a book and a deck to go with it about sleep mantras and rituals. And I'm just so excited that we're going to dive into that today.
Yeah, me too.
Um, how did this even start? How does somebody who, yes, you work with psychology, or you work with stress in people's lives and stuff, but why sleep? How
You know,
did,
it's so interesting. I was at the bookstore recently, and there's a whole section on sleep health now and sleep hygiene. And I was thinking, just even 6 months, a year ago, that section wasn't even a dedicated space in the bookstore. And that's really what inspired me too to write this book. Over the last 3 years, I've been deep in research and doing the work behind the scenes. I wrote a book called Find Your Happy several years ago, and it did really well. And it's about mantras to live your day and have an awesome life. And my publisher came to me and said, we are in a sleep epidemic. You know, the whole world is having a hard time with stress, and the productivity is low because we aren't sleeping. So will you write this bedtime mantra book? It's the natural next step. And on this call, I said to them, actually, I've been doing research for this already for the past couple of years because I was diagnosed with severe sleep apnea, and I had my hormones tested, and my cortisol has been through the roof, and I was getting these migraines, and I actually ended up being diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and which is a widespread muscle pain condition. So behind the scenes in my personal life, yes, I was still doing the coaching and the workshops and the retreats on living your best life, but I was navigating this personal health crisis, and it was directly affected to not sleeping well. And so I started to implement strategies with mind, body, spirit focus. And then it's turned into a book. So it's just serendipitous how it's all come together. And now it's out in the world. And because I do graphic design as well, we designed a deck, an affirmation deck, because sometimes we just need a little kind reminder before. So that these are tools to help us sleep better so we can live better.
that is awesome. And yeah, some of my clients struggle with fibro, and it is not easy. And sleep seems to be in that condition is one of the things that the clients struggle with the most. And it's the underlying one that we need to get so you can heal, right? So the body can just calm down.
Yeah, and I will say by implementing some of these strategies we'll talk about today, it has been 2.5 years since I've had a fibromyalgia flare. I remember the doctor when they diagnosed me, they were like, this is a lifelong thing. And I heard that, but I said, no, I'm actually going to like work with this. And once you have a diagnosis, sometimes it's easier to understand you have a path forward. There was a lot of before, what's wrong with me? What's happening? Why do I feel so gaslit, by the medical community? And once I had that, it was like, okay, all systems go, and it's working. It's a whole lifestyle radical change, but I am proof that we're not stuck in what was, or we aren't our diagnosis. These are opportunities to really learn about ourselves and change and heal.
Yay, that is wonderful. And I'm so happy for you because I know it's like it can be such a journey, right? And that is amazing.
Thank you.
That is just wonderful. So, can we talk a little bit about, let's dive into the sleep topic a little. So, what I hear from some of my clients, I have two groups. I have the the women who kind of you struggle to fall asleep or the women who wake up, or sometimes we have both. But
Mhm.
what comes up a lot is this, I'm tired, I want to go to bed, I hit the pillow and bam, wide open eyes, brain is on overdrive.
Yes.
Just cannot get that spiral to stop. And I wonder if that's something that either you've experienced or where you see that your tools might be working, or how we could approach that.
Absolutely. And I see this in clients of mine too, especially women. And I think a lot of it is because we're the caretakers, the nurturers, the show up for everyone else. I'm okay if you're okay kind of idea through the day. And we really do carry a lot on our shoulders and without even really talking about it. And so what happens at night is when your body finally has a time to sit and rest and your head hits the pillow, it signals to the brain, okay, relax. But then all the things we couldn't focus on or process during the day, that's when they click in. So there's like a science behind it. But what I found is getting yourself into a ritual. This whole book, it's 300 and the book 365 Happy Bedtime Mantras is a full year's worth of 3 to 5 minute rituals you can do right before bed. And it includes a mantra, a meditation, and a ritual that could be as simple as like the blanket burrito. Wrap yourself in your blankets, cuddle up, give yourself a hug, and feel what when you do these things, it's a somatic experience. So your body actually signals, oh, I really can relax. And so the stress and the things that we're constantly thinking about in our head start to dissipate because we realize this is a time for rest and I feel safe. And a lot of it is about safety. If we don't feel safe in the day, then it carries over to the night. So it's a process. And I do think these have really worked. I've learned firsthand. I've been able to reverse some of the health diagnoses. And I see it firsthand with clients. They love the simplicity of, I don't have to do everything right. I can just open up a page in the book, or I can just tonight it's a make a warm cup of tea before bed, and each sip think about what you're grateful for. These get us out of our head and into our heart.
Yes, and I think a lot of women, myself included, and a lot of my clients are like that. We're very like high achieving type A, go, go, go kind of
Yeah.
people. And
Yeah.
it's exactly how I describe it too, how you just described it. In the end, sleep is about feeling safe to let go, right? Like your body, we are all biologically wired to do it.
Mhm.
Um, it's just if the body doesn't feel safe and it's in stress and it's running, it's afraid of either being attacked, dying, whatever that
Yeah.
physical response is, right? That cortisol. Just calming that down and creating that night. I love that burrito. Like
Yeah. I
super
heard
cool.
it feels
That's
good,
super cool.
right?
And I think the other thing is, because I hear this often um, on I think social media is where it's often coming from this. You need an hour, 2 hour bedtime routines. And I'm like, I don't subscribe to it. I don't have time for it. My clients don't have time for it. I
Right.
don't know what you think. Just
Yeah.
talking about the short rituals that we were bringing up.
I mean, even you just demonstrated your whole energy and you had this glow about you, and you were like, the blanket burrito, that's something you can do within seconds and you feel better. I think there's a lot of people who have different prescriptions of what they think works because it works for them. And what I subscribe to in all of the work that I do is we have to find what works for us personally. That's how we know it. This goes for diets, this goes for relationships, this goes for sleep hygiene. And so that's why I wanted to create this book, because it literally has, over 600 ideas of how you can fall asleep and feel better. And I think it's really important to just give yourself permission to be where you are. And it's fun and exhilarating sometimes to learn about other activities and what people are saying. We want to know what's working for others. But I think what happens bringing in more of the mental health space and in my life coaching experience, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. Well, why did it work for them? Especially with meditation. Like in the beginning, everyone says, meditate, meditate, right? And, we've talked about this. And I think it's one of those things in the beginning, I was like, it's not working. And then I felt shame, and it put even more construct on me to
Mhm.
feel like I'm off track. I'm doing something wrong. And then I realized, well, what is meditation? It's about freeing yourself from the overthinking and the rumination. So when are other times that I do that? And I realized at the time I was really into endurance sports. And so when I run or do biking, that's a form of meditation. When I'm just petting my pet or walking in nature, it's about being so present in the moment that you are alive. And so I reframed that. And that's truly, and then meditation might be easier. I can sit down and I don't sit on a pillow for hours. So my point with this is, We have to find what works for us, but give ourselves compassion, but also enjoy the journey and treat it like an experiment. Almost like, oh, this is fun. I'm going to try this. And if it doesn't work, okay, I learned what doesn't work, or this piece worked for me, so I'm going to apply it over here. And that's how we find true healing and growth.
That is very well explained. And I think you can, yeah, we have to kind of get away, I think, from, well, A, there's no magic pill. I think a lot of people have figured that one out. But then it's the, oh my God, now there's this vacuum of what, right? But if I take these steps, there can still be pleasant experiences, even if it that wasn't the thing.
Yeah,
Right? If I
exactly.
didn't absolutely hate it, which I likely didn't, because if there's so many choices, I'm not going to go to the thing that doesn't speak to me, but I'm
Mhm.
going to the things that are a bit enticing, right? And then give that a go. And I think, how do you see it? Um, because it's exactly what you said. Like the one thing is the meditation. I often have people who say, I've tried it, can't do it, can't sit still, right? It's that being in the moment rather than forcing yourself
Yeah.
to be silent and trying to not think about anything.
I think what you just shared too is so important. It's the psychology of us. We often feel a certain way about ourselves based on past experience. Like, I'm this type of person. I'm not someone who can sit still. I don't know how to relax. I don't sleep well, or I wake up at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning every day. And we start to create this internal dialogue that is who we are, but not recognizing what is doesn't have to be what will be. And it's all this idea of change and growth is about meeting yourself where you are in each moment and doing what feels right. And so maybe meditation didn't work for you before, but maybe calming music before bed does, or bird song. There's a lot of healing power and science behind nature. Some people like to sleep with ocean machines, sounds of ocean, or if you're lucky to live by the sea, you can open your window. So I think it's the things of finding what works for you and not judging it. So if we take out that judger, that is the key. Like, I'm this person who does this. No, I'm going to see what works for me and embrace it and celebrate the aspects that do. And then we find, oh my gosh, I'm actually sleeping better, or my hormones are testing better, or oh my gosh, I don't have headaches anymore. And it's the little steps we take each moment that really make the big difference.
Yes, yes. And making it, I think with that book, you're making it so simple, right? It's the small things. And um, I think they can just add up to so much good, right?
Yes.
And we don't have to start big because it's just, I find it's often like I came from like a severe burnout at some point and it was just everything was overwhelming. And then you
Mhm.
see people meditate and you're like, oh my God, I can never do that. And I'm like, that's already stressing me. Just the thought of having to do that is already stressful.
That's
So
it.
doing
Mhm.
little tiny things, it's
Yeah.
exactly that, right? And they make you feel better. And even some of those I think you have there in the book can even be done like in the early evenings or during the day if you have a minute, right? Because you were describing exactly that. This we go, 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 go all day.
Mhm.
We hit the pillow and expect to fall asleep, but it's exactly what you said. Like she's finally quiet. Hello, says the brain. Let's discuss what happened today, right?
Yeah. A flood of
Yeah.
all the things.
And if
It's
you
like,
had
oh,
and if we take
mhm.
those little snacks,
That's it. Yeah. Sleep
um,
snack.
sleep snacks, even during the day sometimes, right? Like just to calm the system and just tell ourselves we're good.
Ah, yeah, absolutely. I love even because we're on video as we record here. You put your hand on your heart when you said that. That was really special too because it's coming home to yourself.
Yeah.
And I really specialize in living the life we're made for. I'm here to help people align to their authenticity. And so when you ask like, "Oh, you're writing a book on sleep now," when we sleep better, we live better and we're more productive in the day. And that's why I designed the book in three sections. The first is about relieving stress because we're so stressed in the day, right? And then once you do that, you can allow yourself to relax. And so part two is about really getting into that mode of relaxing and sleeping and resting, whether you're resting in the day or night. But then the third part is about your dreams, the dreams you have during the day to manifest. But if you're too tired, you can't live those dreams, but also the dream state. And that's really when you get to dream state, that means your body is giving itself the deepest rest. And if you can remember your dreams, you can work with your dreams, but your whole entire system, your cells, your organs are getting the proper rest that they need to rejuvenate. And that's when they really flush through. We reset all the time. So there's the science of our dream state. And I designed it that way for exactly what you just said. It's like giving ourselves permission to be where we are and just say, Okay, one thing at a time, I'm doing it. And I can do it any part of the day. And that's what helps us.
I think so too. I absolutely agree. Um, can I ask a few questions about the dreams?
Yeah, I would love that.
Because it's funny, I was actually on a podcast as a guest recently, but it was very much in the biohacking space. Um, which is very, well, I don't want to say it's very different. It has some aspects. There's a lot of spirituality and stuff in there too, because they believe in the holistic approach, or the person I was talking to, but it is a bit more like data driven and like peptides and whatnot, right? But she was talking to me about dreams and she's like, do you analyze that with your clients? And I said, I don't, because I'm not, that's not my area of expertise. All I know, and that is also personal experience, when I went through my trauma and burnout, I wasn't dreaming for years.
Mhm.
I wasn't. However, I felt like I had a really deep sleep, but I still woke up in the morning and I was not energized.
Yeah.
And once I'd gone through my entire journey of fixing my sleep and my hormones and everything that was related, in my case, the dreams came back.
Oh, yeah.
And wasn't that a wonderful? Like, wasn't that a great? Because it does reset you on a different level, I think,
Yeah.
from how I see dreams.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that too, because I think a lot of people can relate. When we go through very significant periods of our life, whether it's traumatic experience, burnout, overwhelm, we're grieving even the loss of loved ones, or grieving an old version of ourselves, or loss of a job, or any significant life change, there is a time, it's just like asking someone, who has experienced a childhood that may be traumatic and they don't remember periods of it.
Mhm.
It's in the same vein of, from a psychological perspective, our body is just doing the best it can to function while we dream, and it's almost protecting you from having that deeper dream state. So I don't think we need to, again, judge ourselves if we're not remembering dreams, but we can set the kind of intention, I would like to remember my dreams again, because when you do start remembering your dreams, you can work with them. I've gone through some very traumatic, deep, dark moments, from, narcissistic, abusive relationships, to overcoming some things that led, like, surviving natural disasters that led, like, to severe PTSD. I always say that wrong, PTSD. And in my dreams, I kept having a reoccurring dream where a tsunami would come, and literally right before it, like, would hit me, I would wake up, and it happened time and time. And I would always know that that was me needing to process my emotions, needing to feel very present in my life and not run from what is happening. And as soon as I did that, the dreams would go away. So we can start to work with our dreams and recognize if we're having reoccurring dreams, that's our subconscious saying, just kind of like a little universal tap, like, hey, we're trying to work with you to support you. And then also, I do have more experience in the dream state now of understanding the symbols that we have in our dreams. In fact, every single night, my dreams, I go to bed before and I say, help me with this situation, or whether it's a business situation or a relationship, you can set the intention to the universe, or you can write it in a journal. And I literally have clarity in my dream. It's not like it gives you the clear answer, but I might dream about my dog and he's doing something that then gives me clarity in the morning. So I think when you get to that stage, you start to realize our dreams are here to help us live our potential.
Oh, that's so nicely said. And that I'm gonna try that. That's quite fascinating. I'll go
Yeah.
ahead and try
And
that.
it's fun. It's playful. I've been doing that with clients, friends, and family, and now they call me. They're like, "Here's what my dream was, and what do you think?" And it's really about looking at our dreams as a playful opportunity to learn more about ourselves.
And how what would you say to people who say, I know I dream, but I never remember them, like when I wake up, they're gone?
Yeah, it's absolutely, I think it's the stage of our life. And sometimes it's the same if for so many years, I said that too. I was like, oh, I had a great childhood, but there were periods that were blocked out. And then it's like, oh, once I started doing inner child work, these memories came back. And now I remember my dreams. So I think when people say I don't remember my dreams, it's underneath, what are they really saying? Do I want to remember my dreams? Or is it, do I feel like something's wrong with me? Because they think most people do. So we want to look at the subtext, and the subtext is usually revealing more about where we are and what our intention or what we want. Again, taking the judgment off. When people say that to me, I say it's actually just a stage of your life. There's no wrong. It's about meeting yourself where you are, but you can do things to move yourself towards remembering your dreams, which is rituals that you do right before bed, mantras, journaling, also just saying the intention. I would say if anyone's in that situation right now, or like I haven't had dreams for years, or just before you go to bed tonight for the next couple nights, just say, it would be nice to explore my dreams again, or I am open to seeing where that goes.
Wonderful. Yeah. When I'm really going to try it because I have a few questions. Maybe I can get it.
And then email me how it goes. I love
Yeah,
hearing about
absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. Um, so if people do this, people are quite, let's say, diligent with they have a bedtime routine. They try to manage their daytime a little better. They have something at night that is a ritual or a routine that is good for them, that feels right for them. However, they're still struggling.
Mhm.
Um, what do you, from your experience, also from working with clients, what do you think could be things for them that would be worth exploring?
I think, and this is how I really wanted to look at, I love that I bring in the life coaching aspect because we can't separate our areas. It's like I'm going to focus on my sleep and my health, and that's a priority. But if we're not addressing the other areas that maybe we're having financial stress, maybe we're having some inconsistent relationships or toxic tendencies with relationships, or we're having someone who's pulling at our energy, we have to look at all the areas. So I often say, look at your life. And relationships really do play a really key part in our situations of how we can sleep. I used to sleep really well. I would, as soon as my head hit the pillow, I was out, even when I was starting my business and really stressed out. And then I got involved with a man, and it was a wonderful relationship. I learned a lot, but I didn't realize at the time that there was a lot of abuse happening, a lot of gaslighting, a lot of triangulation, and all these tactics. And as soon as we started really getting serious and dating hardcore, I started having insomnia. Literally, for years while I was involved in this situation, and as soon as I went no contact and realized the toxicity of this type of relationship, that same night I slept like a baby. And it was all tied to the energetic connection of this person who I was trying to figure out. So I think we have to look at all the layers and recognize that where we are is actually really important. It gives us some information about where we are, and recognizing we don't have to be there. Like sometimes we get so stuck. I could have said I'm going to have insomnia forever. That's it, but not getting overwhelmed and allowing yourself to say, I do want to heal this, and I'm curious about finding the root cause.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what you do so well, your life coach, right? Or like that's this getting to this place of acceptance, of non-shame. That's where I am. Yes, I am struggling with my sleep right now, but I'm
Uh,
interested, curious, and trying to figure this out.
that's it.
I
Non-shame.
think that's
Hmm.
the thing, because the more we think about it and beat ourselves up, that's the saboteur right there. That is
Yes.
what creates that negative loop in the brain that is constantly like, oh, I'm gonna have another horrible night. Oh, I'm gonna wake up again. Oh, I can't sleep. It's like I'm just a bad sleeper. I feel like crap. Right? It's that you have to kind of break that
Yeah.
gentle, in a gentle way.
You nailed it. And I'm so glad you caught to that, because really that specific aspect of beating ourselves for being where we are, or shaming ourselves, or having that negative loop, that is far worse than actually not having a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
Oh, if you look at it,
Yeah.
because the amount of stress, and that's what's creating the
Yeah.
hormonal imbalance and the migraines and insomnia. So if we were to just look at that and just kind of say, okay, I'm going to meet myself right where I am. I've had clients who do that, and then they're like, oh my God, like I had sent some early reviews of the book out, to clients and stuff, and one person said, I haven't slept more than 4 hours in over 5 years, and I slept 12 hours last night because I took off the shame. I stopped anticipating I wasn't going to sleep tonight. I opened your book, I read a mantra, and I did the little exercise, and I was like, see what happens. And it's not like that's, everyone is different, but what I'm getting at is, when we let go of blaming and shaming ourselves, we have a fresh palette, and it's like we can meet ourselves where we are, and everything changes. And it's really, really refreshing. And it's a clean slate.
It is, and it is so it's so fascinating because I was just talking to my life coach about something that it doesn't have anything to do with sleep because my sleep's great, but it had some other anxiety things that I was dealing with, and she's like, she described it so well, and you kind of use that phrase too, just right now. She's like, is your anxiety, is it anticipatory? I'm like, that is what it is. And that is the same thing with sleep. And it just was so nice that somebody put that into words. This, you know what? That's totally fake. I'm making this up. It ha absolutely hasn't happened. There is the likelihood that it will happen is in that case, maybe 50-50, but it's still 50% that it won't, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just stressing my system
Mhm.
with that thought that it might happen, like I might again not be able to sleep tonight, right? But as if we just catch that as, oh yeah, I'm just anticipating that it's going to get worse. Of course it's going to, because I'm putting all my energy
Yeah.
into all my energy in that one bucket.
That's exactly it. In anxiety, they say depression is kind of a rumination of the past, and anxiety is a fear of the future or that anxiety of what's to come. But what you just shared is so key because what happens for us, human nature, is we want to kind of protect ourselves and know what to expect. So it's a false form of control. Well, I've experienced this before, so I think it's going to happen again. But what's really happening is we have to give ourselves permission to really allow ourselves to first identify what life would be like if we actually got really good sleep. If you've struggled with sleep for years, or you have insomnia, or you keep waking up and you're like, I don't know why I'm missing 2, 3 hours every night, then we have to say, what's on the other side of that? Because sometimes we have such a fear of the past, and it happens in relationships too. If somebody's been involved in situations and then they meet someone new, they bring those in if they don't do the work. It's the same thing with our sleep. We do the work to clear the past and say, no, I'm actually going to intentionally try to move forward. And I think the key subtext to this is a lot of us are really comfortable with struggling and saying in the space that we've been in. And we don't even know. We're so used to having a body that doesn't feel so optimal. We're so used to waking up groggy and needing that coffee that we don't actually allow ourselves to think, what would it be like if I really lived in such optimal body, mind, spirit space? And I keep saying, I'm trying, I'm doing this, I've done everything, and it doesn't work. But if you're still saying, I'm trying and I've done everything, it doesn't work, you're in a lack. You're still focusing on, I am in a place of deficit. Instead, say, I am doing the best I can. Or instead, you can start, show up with like mantras, like even in the book, right? Like, I focus on the good all around me, which is a mantra in my book, or I let go of my need to control the outcome. You shift your state right away.
That's a good one. I could use that one at some
Yeah,
point.
right. You can use it in the day too.
Absolutely. So and how do you use them? Like, so you would use the mantras, you would use now for sleep specifically, we would use them as part of a bedtime ritual.
Yeah, the way this book is designed, you can certainly, right before bed or in the evening, open up the book, even in the day.
Hold it
But
up
you
so people can see the copy.
Yeah, of course we have. So it's 365 happy bedtime mantras, and then with each one there's a mantra, and you can design it where you open up to any page. And I do this in my coaching client calls, where at the end of the session I'll open the book, and it always summarizes what we just went through and a next step forward. And it's beautiful how that works. But then you have the mantra. It has each night, day one to 365, the mantra, and then there's a little reflection that you can kind of think on. And that's why I love that you put your hand on your heart earlier, because it's like, I am going to kind of self-reflect. And then I have a beautiful first person intention, which is like a meditation. And then there's the ritual, which is anything from a somatic experience to kind of journaling, breath work. It's a full mind, body, spirit. But the way we can use the mantras, a mantra is literally retraining your brain. It's like an affirmation. So these mantras, sometimes in traditional different cultures, a mantra is kind of a specific saying, but these are more affirmation style. And they're freeing because they allow you to drop from your head to your heart. And you're literally, instead of focusing on, I can't, you change it to, I can. So it's uplifting your energy and your vibration. And you're kind of giving your mental mindset a focus. And I've been able to heal my depression. I was able to heal some other issues with in my extreme anxiety the doctor diagnosed me with by starting with, where's my brain focusing on? If I'm focusing on what's not going well, no, mantras. I'm going to write some mantras and start to use mantras to shift into a higher place, and it works every time.
Awesome. Can
Yeah.
you share one? Maybe is there
Yes.
specific ones? Like, let's say I wake up in the middle of the night. Like, so many ladies have this, like the dreaded 3 a.m. Here we
Mm,
go again. The to-do
yeah.
list. How do I, right? And if I could actually, if I had one that I could just
Mhm.
go to and actually like even visualize it and just say it to myself.
It's so, so beautiful. I opened the book and let the universe decide, as you were saying that. And I got night 141. And if you can see here, the mantras, I transcend beyond my limiting beliefs. A lot of times we have a belief that we are stuck. And so if you just kind of go deeper, it says whether it's a person, a belief system, or cultural conditioning, even a political doctrine or fear itself, deception casts a shadow over the light. If you feel yourself stuck in the darkness and you look at the beliefs you've been holding, then maybe your mindset is the one that it's harder to trust. And maybe you feel a certain way, and it's because of what you're projecting. Imagine yourself having a nightmare or you're in a lucid dream state. You have the power to change directions, especially if you're in lucid dream, by redirecting the storyline. So if you look at the beliefs that are limiting you in the day, you can do the same thing. So do you believe that you're actually good enough to get the desires you want? Do you believe that you can change your health? It all starts from the inside. So believe and know that you are worthy of more. And then you can place your hand on your heart, or you can just read this powerful part. It says, I do not allow fear to attach or weigh the experiences down of my life. I transcend my fear by choosing to focus on right now and the love that is available. And tonight's restful ritual, shed the worries of the day by breathing deeply into your diaphragm and releasing tension as you exhale. This practice in itself will release endorphins and help calm your nervous system, and it will invite more rest as you realize everything is as it should be right now. So that's a sample of a simple process of how the book would work, but I transcend beyond my limiting beliefs is something you can say at any point during the day.
You can, and I think even the practice with the deep breathing and just letting go and feeling safe. I find if you do that when you wake up and you're already getting this, oh, la la la, here we go again, right?
Yeah.
It helps just to shift that focus to I'm comfy, I'm resting, I'm
That's
safe.
it. It's calm.
Yeah.
And that's really what this is about. It's about bringing calm and peace back into our life because the truth is, we're living in a time that wasn't really made for modern humanity. You hear this all the time. The science advances, everything, the electromagnetic waves, all of it, and the bombardment of information, the speed of AI, it's so much that we're trying to keep up, but we're not meant to keep up. And so we can actually get back to our true, healthy human state by just being with ourselves, going out into nature, allowing yourself to sleep in without an alarm clock on days you can, focusing on your bedroom and how it feels. Is it conducive for a good night's sleep? There's simple things we can do like changing, moving the furniture so it feels better in the bedroom or bringing house plants in. All of these things can help us just sleep better and live better.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing all this. Is there anything else that we haven't touched on that you would like to share?
Well, I think it's really important to recognize that where we are is not off track or behind. I think we come to health, situations and we sometimes, again, blame ourselves. But what's really great is to really connect in with you're doing the best you can and you're doing awesome. You were doing awesome. It's hard being human.
Yeah, yeah. It's it is so it can be so difficult to do that, but I think it is absolutely so important. And if that's something that sounds maybe a bit awkward for people sometimes, or even triggering when we talk about things like that, like dig into that, like to the listeners, right? It's like that's telling you something. Because I was like that. I was like, right, with life short, we gotta live, like we got energy, let's go. No, no, no. There is a like slowing down, and if you can't do certain things yet, that's okay. We'll get there.
Yeah, it's about really being in life instead of trying to like race through life or accomplish life or prove in life. It's about being fully experiencing what life has to offer. And that is our sleep as well. When we sleep, we give ourselves permission to live better. So it's a beautiful journey. And if we just allow ourselves to kind of, release the stress, focus on where we are stressed and just really intentionally focus on, I'm going to relieve this because I love myself. It's about self-love. I really deserve to feel good. And that's why I'm doing it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Shannon.
It's been so great to be here. Thank you.
Where can people work with you, find out more about you, get the book?
Yes, well, the book 365 Happy Bedtime Mantras and the affirmation deck are available at bookstores, your favorite bookstore, Amazon. I am on social media at Shannon Kaiser Writes, and I'm always posting positive information there. And my coaching, you can go to, I do life coaching and empowerment coaching. I also do author mentorships where I help people bring their books to life, and business coaching, helping people take their passion and make a fabulous living. And that's at playwiththeworld.com. And you can just go to the Work With Me tab.
Awesome. And what a lovely URL. Like, world, I love it.
Yep.
I'm going to post everything in the show notes so people find all the links there. So everybody, you can check that out. And I think if I remember correctly, if people buy the deck or the book, there is like a master class that you offer that helps people work through that, right?
Well, the book's out now, so that was a pre-order campaign. So
Oh,
right now, yeah, we have the book out, but I am teaching a group coaching right now to help with the processes in this book that starts in May. So yeah,
yeah.
wonderful.
Awesome.
It's a
So would people,
masterclass
yeah, so
live
people would find that
on the website.
on the
So yeah,
website.
yeah, it's playwiththeworld.com events. There's an event tab, and I'm leading some retreats coming up. I'm leading a full week-long retreat. I'm going to be in Costa Rica next month. So I'm just always teaching and living this message, and I hope to see you in person.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And everybody, thank you so much for watching and listening. And we'll hope to see you soon.